Welcome back, guys. Arman Islam video, and just a quick intro, relevant intro. I'm from Armenia, and if there's one thing you guys should know about Armenians, it's that we're a very small population. There's only 12 million of us in the world, 2.9 million in Armenia, and we're such a small minority that when we see someone at the top of their craft, especially in sports, we're surprised. Like, holy shit, they exist. For us, Arman is a unicorn. And when we see people like that, we back them 100%, like their family. So we look at Arman like he's family. Now from Armenia, we fly to LA, and why that's relevant. LA, outside of Armenia, the 2.9 million people living in Armenia, LA has the highest concentration of Armenians. Around 200,000 Armenians in LA. And that's relevant because this fight is taking place at the Intuit Dome in Englewood. So that stadium is going to be packed with Armenians. If it's still held at the Intuit Dome, Arman will definitely have the home field advantage. Without further ado, the Arman and Islam breakdown. Now we're going to talk about their strengths and weaknesses. And no, Islam is not strong everywhere. He's not better everywhere. I know that's the main narrative, and I'm not saying that as an Arman fan. Islam is not better everywhere. They both have their strengths and weaknesses, both on the ground and feet. First, on the ground, Islam, of course, has way better submissions. On the other hand, Arman doesn't really have much of a submission game. He has no submissions. Islam has that in the back. He's one of the best submission artists in the UFC. Now, Arman, on the ground, his strength is ground and pound. He, in my opinion, is pound for pound the best at ground and pound in the UFC. At the very least, top 3.
Oh my God!
The bludgeoning against Alvarez, that was the most brutal bludgeoning, slicing and dicing with elbows. He just butchered Alvarez, and that's aging very well because Alvarez is running through everybody else. He demolished Silva with elbows and hammer fist. That was just a demolition derby. And conversely, Islam doesn't really have much ground and pound. He's constantly searching for submissions instead of punching his opponents. The Volk fight, round 1 and round 4, especially. At times, he could have butchered him with punches, but he was just searching for a submission that wasn't there. What are you doing, bro? You can punch. Went full Jailton Almeida, bro. Like, you're allowed to punch people on the ground. Yeah, he's had the Bobby Green ground and pound finish, but a lot of times, Islam takes people down and just constantly searches for submissions that aren't there. Full autist mode, dude. In fact, in the Volk fight, Volk was doing the damage from the ground, from his back. He was like, mate, what the fuck you doing back there, mate? Round 4. Volk was doing the damage from his back. Against Poirier, round 3. He had Poirier's back. Body triangle in. Poirier was flat, nowhere to go. And Islam, instead of raining down punches, he's trying to finagle a submission again. And then he went to mount, he transitioned to mount, and same thing. He's not raining down punches. If that was Khabib, with the Volk fight and the Poirier fight, that fight was over. At the very worst, Khabib's gonna damage them. So his lack of ground and pound is kind of hurting him. So yeah, Arman's got way better ground and pound. Now, as far as skill sets go, these are their widest skill gaps, and I don't think they're going to be able to get to the ground with wrestling because their wrestling is going to offset. They're both elite wrestlers, especially counter wrestling. They might take each other down, but both of them are going to scramble back to their feet. It could end up very anticlimactic and be a clinch fest, but I'm going to go with it's going to end up on the feet. It's going to be a striking match. Now, on the feet, again, Islam is not better everywhere. The narrative is he's a better striker. Guys, you got to break it down, okay? Is he a better boxer? Yes. He's got better punch mechanics. He's more patient. He's just a better boxer all around. For now, the Mount Elbrus thing we'll talk about. But Islam for sure is a better boxer, especially defensively. Now, Arman's strength is kicking. He's a way better kicker. Let's just say Arman is the better Taekwondo practitioner. Way better with the kicks. In fact, Islam only seems to throw with his rear leg, his power leg, his left side, his left leg. He only throws with his left, a front kick and a round kick to the body and head. That's his two very simple and effective kicks. But that's pretty much Islam's kicking game from his left. That's it. Once in a while, he'll throw a lead leg kick from his right, but very rarely. But mostly, it's from his left leg. That's it. And he doesn't throw with volume either. Arman, on the other hand, he's way more balanced. He kicks a lot from his lead leg, from his left leg, and his rear leg. But more so, I think he kicks from his lead leg. Round kicks, body, head. He's got a very good spinning kick, spinning back kick. He's got an axe kick, an effective axe kick. He hit Oliveira with. I think he also threw it a couple times against Silva. I think landed one against Ramos or Hamos. Is it Ramos or Hamos? I'm going to say Ramos because it's spelled with an R. Okay, I don't get that. It's not Rodriguez or it's not Ramos. It's Hamos. It's Rodriguez. I'll spell it with an H then. So yeah, he threw an axe kick against Ramos. He's got an axe kick, pretty effective. But that spinning back kick might come into play, and we'll talk about that later. So Arman's got way better kicks, way more balanced, way more versatile, and also might be more powerful. His body kicks. He hurt Silva. He hurt Gamrot. The sounds from his body kicks, you could hear echo. Islam has power in his kicks as well, but I think Arman might have the power advantage too, but it's close. But in any case, he's got way more variety, versatility, and volume and balance. So one's a better boxer, one's a better kicker. Now weaknesses. Arman keeps his head up in the center line. He doesn't move his head when he moves in to throw punches and combinations. That's his main flaw. It almost cost him against Silva. And that fight against Silva where he got wobbled with the lead left. He actually ate that punch a few times before he got wobbled with it. And he didn't make the adjustment. Right. So that's Arman's main weakness. He doesn't move his head. He's got no head movement when he's throwing combinations, especially post combinations. You know, at the very least, he should pull away. If he's not going to duck or roll, he's got to keep his head off the center line. But he constantly keeps his head right in punching range, right in the opponent's punching lane, and he gets hit too much. So that's his main flaw. And if he hasn't worked on that, this fight is over. Okay? Islam is a very good counter striker. He's going to tag him up. Arman will get lit up if he hasn't worked on that flaw. That's his major flaw, pretty much. But considering who he's trained with at Mount Elbrus, the boxing minds, because in Mount Elbrus, he was working with Albert Arabedian, who's a boxer, boxing coach, 24 professional record, I think. Pretty formidable, but it's his knowledge that counts. And his training partner at Mount Elbrus was Edward Vartanyan, who's a great southpaw mixed martial artist. He's a southpaw Thai boxer. Vicious. He actually beat Damir Ismagulov last year in a kickboxing match. The same Damir Ismagulov who Arman fought in the UFC a couple of years ago and didn't want anything to do with on the feet. Okay, he just out-wrestled Damir. So that was his training partner. A striker, and his coach, a boxer. So I'm gonna assume Arman has worked on his deficiencies on the feet, especially with his head movement. Now, Islam, compared to Arman, he's very good defensively, but he gets tagged up with a jab, he gets tagged to the body. He's got a lot of openings on the feet. Now, his fights against Poirier and Volk, primarily, he looked like the better striker, especially against Poirier. People are saying, oh, wow, he outstruck Poirier. He's a better striker than Poirier. Dude, he's nowhere near Poirier's level as far as boxing. He looked like a better striker because Poirier was concerned about the takedowns. He was way too conservative. Poirier was only throwing jabs for the first, 3 rounds. He was throwing jabs and still catching Islam. He was jabbing, moving away. Jab, move away. Jab, sometimes he would throw a left hook. But it was mainly jabs. It was mainly jabs and pulling up the shorts, dude. Poirier, Dustin, you had a counter open, bro. But no, he would jab and just move away and pull up his shorts. That should be a bet, an over-under bet. Anytime Poirier fights, over-under 400 times, how many times he's gonna fucking pull up his shorts. One of the more annoying fighters to root for, Poirier. Love Poirier, but that shit's annoying, dude. The most obsessively compulsive twitch, I think, in sports history. Just pulls up his shorts, bro. Constantly. He had more short pull-ups than combined punches. And then in the 4th and 5th rounds, he opened up with the punches and combinations to the body, especially in the Thai clinch. Islam's got a really good Thai clinch, but his body's open. His elbows are out, and Poirier was catching him. The body was also coming in with uppercuts to the body as well. So my main point is I think we're overrating Islam's striking. He's a great striker, but the way we're talking about it, I think we're overrating him. Yeah, he's great, but still overrated. the way these strikers fight against him, they're too worried about the takedowns that they don't strike with volume. Volk wasn't that scared, and Volk did very well in that fight. The difference between Arman and Poirier, or even Volk and Oliveira, is Arman will not be nearly as worried about the takedown, because he knows he has the wrestling pedigree to counter-wrestle Islam. And even if he gets taken down, he's going to scramble back to his feet. So now what I think Arman should do, and the game plan he should employ, it's based on Islam's two main flaws. Number one, his counters against Volk. His counters were same-side hooks. So Volk would throw a left jab or a left hook, and Islam would immediately counter with his right hook, same-side hook. If Volk was throwing a right cross or a right hook, Islam would pull and throw his left hook. Same-side counter, over and over, creature of habit. Against Poirier, he also had that same side counter, but not as often, I think a few times. Given it was a close stance, he was mainly slipping jabs to the outside. And I think this fight with Arman is going to go more similar to the Volk fight than it is to the Poirier fight, because orthodox against southpaw is going to be an open stance. So one thing Arman can do is try to draw the counter, anticipate the counter, and hit him with his own counter, because he knows what's coming. Very predictable. Islam's second flaw is dips and ducks to the inside. And during the Volk fight, he would duck to the inside, the opposite side where a punch was coming from. That's how he got knocked down 5th round. And Volk timed that perfectly. With the Poirier fight, he was more slipping to the outside and then rolling back inside, but he was doing it a lot. Islam is very habitual with his counters and movements and motions. And what Arman's got to do is draw these motions and counters. And Arman has all the tools to draw out these counters. He's quicker, faster, more explosive. He's got a reach advantage. So what I think Arman should do is employ a long guard, hand fight the jab hand. Again, they're in an open stance. Hand fight the jab hand, side parry, throw a few jabs, arm punches, see how Islam reacts. If he's ducking to the inside, then he's got the body kick, uppercut, hooks. So a right side attack. If he's slipping the jab to the outside, that's where I think Arman can employ his spinning back kick. He's got a really good spinning back kick. So if Arman establishes a jab, just a light jab from the long guard, or a lead left hook, he's got a really good lead left hook. Doesn't throw it as often, doesn't throw it much, but if he throws that and he finds Islam rolling a hook to the outside or slipping a jab to the outside, he can hit him with that spinning back kick. Another good counter to that is his lead left head kick, which Arman throws a lot. He usually throws these kicks just willy-nilly, doesn't really set it up, but he's got to set them up. He can't just throw them while Islam's moving back. He can't do that with Islam. He's got to set up these kicks and his counters. So he's got to establish a jab and then start feinting. Establish a jab, establish that lead hook, and once he sees Islam being monotonous with his defense, then he should feint and then hit him with a counter. Another thing Arman can do is when he throws his 1-2s or his right punches, and if Islam does what he did against Volk, which is roll to the inside, duck to the inside, and hit him with left hooks to the body or uppercuts, or a lead head kick. Throw it to the body, but it's going to end up being a head kick because Islam is going to be at that level. Islam actually caught Arman at their first fight with that same kick. Ended up almost being a head kick because Arman was ducking to that side. So Arman, in my opinion, should keep a long guard, circle to the left, away from Islam's power side. That's where a majority of his power shots come from, understandably, southpaw. But his kicks only come from that side. So keep a long guard, hand fight, side parry the jab hand, circle to the left, and just look for counters. Try to draw those motions, those counters from Islam, and then counter with your counters. Again, Arman has the speed and explosiveness advantage, so he's going to be able to get to those punches and counters quicker than Islam is. That's one of his main advantages. He should use his kicks as a counter. He shouldn't just throw his kicks, spam kicks. Do not spam kicks. If Arman just starts spamming kicks to the body like he was doing against Gamrot, Islam is going to eventually catch those kicks and trip him up. So there's got to be a rhyme and reason to his kicking. Throw your right cross, throw your right hook to see if Islam is doing what he did against Volk with the same side counters. And if he is, then start feinting those shots and come in with the kick. Same side kick, head kick, round kick. Also, another weakness Islam has, as the fight goes on, his lead hand drops, his face is wide open. Poirier caught him a few times. Round 5, I think. Round 4 and round 5. So throw your feints. And if Islam stops biting, then you can throw your combinations again. Islam's head movement isn't great. It's overrated because, again, the strikers he's fighting with are too scared of the takedown to actually strike with him the way they need to. At times, Islam closes his guard and ducks, but the side of his face and body is still open. Even his center line is still open. So I think it'll bode well for Arman if he throws a lot of uppercuts. Volk was catching him with body shots. Poirier was piecing him up with body shots. Poirier had a bunch of opportunities, but he was too busy pulling up his shorts, dude. And the last thing I'll say about Islam, before I get into my prediction, is Islam has a looping left hook. And it's the same hook he threw that fight against Martins, where Martins pulled back and countered with his right hook, knocking out Islam. He still throws that looping. It's not as lunging and looping and as egregious as it was against the Martins fight, but he still throws it. He threw it against Arman, their first fight. He threw it against Volk while Volk was resetting, I think. So while Arman is resetting at times, Islam might throw this looping left hook. Again, Arman's explosive and fast enough where he can meet that with a crisp 1-2. Straight punches will beat looping punches all day. Again, he doesn't really throw it too often, but he still throws it. It's not as egregious as it was against the Martins fight, but he does have that looping left hook that he tries to catch people off guard with. All right, now with my prediction. I'll give my prediction. You guys probably already know who I'm going with. Is it a biased pick? Probably. Okay, but honestly, I was going to go with Islam up until I saw the Mount Elbrus video that Arman put out. I'm going to assume that Arman has worked on his boxing and his main deficiency with the head movement, not keeping his head off the center line. I'm going to assume that he's worked on his deficiencies, considering who he's trained with and who his coach is, and how serious he's been taking this fight camp. Am I confident with the pick? No, I'm not confident with the pick. It's not because of Islam, because Arman has consistently made mistakes against elite fighters. He made mistakes against Oliveira, almost cost him. He made the mistake against Silva, almost cost him. Arman has very good fight IQ, but there's just times, like a few moments here and there, where he just has brain implosions. So he can't afford to make any mistakes against Islam. I'm not confident, but let's go 60-40. 60-40 Arman. And I also think it's going to be a finish. Either way, third round finish. If Arman drops Islam, it's going to end in ground and pound. If Islam drops Arman, it's probably going to end in a submission because Arman will be hurt. Arman hasn't been dropped. He's been wobbled. But if Islam drops Arman, that would mean that Arman's hurt and he's probably going to jump on a submission. Now, if Islam wins, if he goes up to welterweight, he's done at welterweight, guys. Guys, Islam has trouble taking down lightweights. Islam is no Khabib 2.0, guys. Okay, he's not Khabib 1.0. He's not a better wrestler than Khabib. He doesn't have the same savagery as Khabib with the ground and pound, especially. He knows Khabib 2.0. Arman's closer to Khabib 2.0 than Islam is. Khamzat is Khabib 2.0. He might have better wrestling, and he's definitely better on the feet. Islam ain't Khabib 2.0. He's having trouble with lightweights, with the elite lightweights. Volk 1, trouble. Dustin, trouble. If that was Khabib in those fights are over in round 1 or 2. So my point is, when he moves up to welterweight, he's going to have a ton of trouble with the welterweights. He's not going to be able to take them down. Top 5 welterweights, he's going to get rocked. He's going to get knocked out. JDM, knock him out. Buckley is going to knock him out. He's going to have trouble taking down all these guys. Leon is going to be a defensive fucking stalemate on the feet because Leon is whatever. Leon is Leon. But he's going to have trouble taking down Leon as well. If Usman had trouble, Islam will have trouble. Against Usman, he's definitely going to have trouble. And Usman, I think, has more power than Islam. He's going to get mollywopped at welterweight, guys. And then you have Ali Abdelaziz telling us, oh yeah, brother, he's going to move to welterweight. He's going to run to middleweight. He can even run to light heavyweight. He can take down Alex Pereira and sub him. Make that fight. Dana, please make that fight. Make that fight, please. You know what? Why stop there? Give him Aspinall. Give him Ngannou, dude. Give him Jones. Why stop at Alex Pereira? Islam is going to have trouble at welterweight, bro. That was the dumbest fucking shit I've heard all decade from Abdelaziz, dude. Anyways, guys, that's my video breakdown prediction. Hopefully, I didn't yap too much. Let me know what you guys think. And if you made it this far, thank you very much. If you're an Islam fan, thank you very much. And yeah, till next time, I appreciate you guys watching. Much love. Peace.